They estimated the shortfall is expected to be 8,908 to be precise full-time equivalent GPs, and that's a huge number.
My biggest complaint would be is not stick to the standards.
Unique thinking that after cracking the exam, people should feel relaxed.
We do, but I think it's because there's no guarantee that we'll get it. I know a lot of IMDs would hate hearing this, but unfortunately that is the truth.
Exams are so competitive. They are studying like years and years, and mentally they just got demoralized. Have you faced any kind of discrimination while working in Australia?
I have.
Do you think having an Indian doctor title does affect you in some way?
Dr. KP Balan, who's not only practicing medicine but actively rewriting the playbook for international medical graduates. For over 7 years through the KP Balan Group, she has mentored countless IMGs, guiding them through grueling exams, navigating complex systems, and helping them to carve their place in Australian medicine. But her story doesn't stop at teaching. On the national stage, she stands as a strong voice for IMGs, representing their challenges, their resilience, and their fight to belong. She is a doctor, she's a mentor, she's a leader driven by a mission bigger than herself, building futures for the next generation of healers. This is Dr. KP Balan.
So, Dr. KP Balan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Despite of being long intro, please introduce which I've missed anything.
So my name is KP Balan or Priya. So I'm currently an ED, emergency medicine trainee here in Australia. I did my basic medicine in Manipal University in India. After coming here, I did both my AMC-1 and AMC-2 exams, and I found that there was a profound deficit in the field for guidance. So I'm the director of my company at the moment. And apart from that, I'm currently also in the AMA-WA as an IMG representative and the working group for the federal.
Yes, that's really great. And I'm really very excited for this podcast today, as I wanted to start with the profession who wear suits and making sure they are changing the life in some way, because being a doctor, I understand it's there, but also you are stepping a step ahead and also training the international medical graduates. So I have a lot of questions today, but let's start from the start. How did you get inspiration of becoming a doctor? It's very general question. And also in one of your article I was researching that you get the inspiration from the drama ER, which we are just discussing. So how you think whether the drama has a difference with the real on-field experience, and do you think like what are the difference, because we take inspiration from drama, of course they have a market like emotions, but how it affects you?
I've always loved science. And like I mentioned in my article, I used to watch ER when I was a child. And when you're in 10th grade in India, they always ask, what field do you want to go to? It's either maths or you take science field. And obviously I was very much science oriented, and watching ER definitely made, everything was fast paced, everything was exciting. And as a young child, that's what I've always known that I wanted a job where I'm not in an office. So I was like, well, okay, I like that and I like science. So that's how I chose that. In terms of drama, drama is a very interesting word. In terms of drama, it's definitely not Grey's Anatomy style where there's not a lot of romantic drama that does happen. But we do have a lot of emotions that run high during a P1, or when we realize it's a young patient, or it's a patient, or even elderly patient. When we know their backstory, we do get emotionally attached to a certain extent. And we also deal with multiple personalities, because in ED, we always work as a group. There's nothing like a solo, you don't do anything alone. So it's a good stepping stone for international doctors, because when you come into a new country, the practice is different. So it's where you kind of help them, guide them, because there's always oversight. Yes, definitely drama.
Yeah.
Drama's there in ED in terms of the stress, the emotions, and adrenaline rush, definitely there. So it's an exciting field.
Yeah, and like do you also think like while you're watching the show as a teenager or a child, when you actually be on that field, the inspiration point differs.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you're a child, you're watching cool and messy entry and all, and then on real field, as you mentioned, there are some stories that it actually touches your heart. So do you think the inspiration points changes while you be on the real field?
Definitely. I think it's also with maturity. Like when I was a child, I don't think I had a lot of maturity. And I think it's all the, the cool life saving things that
It's
they do that,
innocence, yeah.
yeah, it's innocence.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of attracts you to it. Now it's more so definitely my perspective for choosing emergency medicine is more so the fact that I like to be the first point of contact. It is a state where people come to emergency room not because they want to be there on a Sunday afternoon or their
Of
weekend
course.
or on a working day. It's mainly because they're most vulnerable at that time and that they don't know what to do. And sometimes it's just a bit of reassurance, like you're okay, is what they're looking for. And sometimes they're actually unwell. And I like being that first point of contact. I don't like someone already doing all the initial bits and pieces and solving the puzzle and then giving it to me. I like to solve the puzzle
Right.
right from the start. I know it sounds solving the puzzle seems a bit distant, or we do have to distance ourselves from the cases to
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. You also represents international medical graduate, and as we had last discussion, which touched from there, is a very debatable term according to you. And
Yeah.
I totally agree when we discuss about it. So if you want to discuss something that why you think the IMG term is a debatable term.
Absolutely. I think an IMG term is an umbrella term. It has a lot of subgroups. And the IMG term, it superficially kind of gives a person the term, a name, and it kind of diminishes their path that they've taken, I believe. In the IMG itself, we have doctors who are citizens of that country and have done the medical degree outside of Australia. And then you have doctors that are from UK, Ireland, who are technically also IMGs because they have not trained in Australia. And then you have another cohort that is they have trained in a country that they're not a citizen of, and they are coming to work in Australia. And for each of them, the path is very different. Especially medicine, there's always a qualifying exam.
Yeah.
There's always an obstacle to run if you're going to relocate. So, and the essential criteria that they need to hit to work and finally start working in Australia is not the same.
Oh.
It's not the same. For example, UK doctors don't need to do the AMC exams,
Yeah,
but they
they
technically IMGs.
correct.
As for IMGs who have internship, they can just do AMC 1 and 2 and get a job because they have clinical experience in internship. Foreign medical graduates, also known as FMGs, fall under the IMG category, which a lot of people are not aware of, don't have internship, and therefore just passing AMC 1 and 2 is not enough.
Yeah, and I also feel that while talking to any IMGs, because I belong to the similar field, and there are a lot of pathways right now, as you mentioned, depending where you stand and what's your situation. But still, do you think we were talking about some AMC event where people are not aware about some terms, FMGs?
Yeah.
So do you think like they also think everything is same and falls under one category, IMG?
I do think there's a lack of knowledge there's a lack of awareness of that there is a cohort of doctors even in Australia, Australian citizens who have not done medicine in Australia, and I was only aware of them because I was more public about what I'm doing and guidance. But there is a cohort in Australia itself where FMGs or the term foreign medical graduates is not like a lot of people are not aware of, and what the criteria they need to know or hit, or what is the education that they have been provided, and what are the gaps in practice that they have, and what do we need to how can we support them when they have to start a job here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not definition is sometimes not clear.
No, and I think it's also a very loosely used term, like
Exactly.
IMGs.
It's
Yeah.
very widely accepted, but in any definition. So that's why.
Yeah. And I think also some people, especially like the UK doctors and the Irish doctors,
Mm.
sometimes are considered not IMGs.
I too agree with that because what they are doing, like UK, New Zealand, Ireland doctors, why they have more better pathways for them sometimes.
Correct.
So I also genuinely believes because there are categorization in terms where we speak about IMGs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and another question, like it's very important question that you choose because you studied your MBBS in India,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, and you choose to come to Australia
Correct.
and especially Perth.
Yeah.
So what made you select this? Because at that time, with Perth is proper. Perth was a regional area, yeah. So
Yeah.
why not Sydney, Melbourne, very flashy stuff?
Oh, why Australia overall? Mainly because in my final year of medicine, I did get an opportunity to do an observership in South Australia.
Wow.
One of my classmates, she was an exchange student from Australia, and she had reached out, and it was a wonderful experience, and I'm so grateful to them. Their names are Claire and James, and they have been, yeah, they basically made me interested in the medicine in Australia. And after I did that observership stint, I was definitely coming back.
Of course, yeah.
As to why Perth, well, I married, my husband lives here. My husband
Okay.
settled here. So I got married and then I came here. So yeah.
But it's coincidence that the term you're advocating for, the Perth seem like according to the statistics, WA is more welcoming so far
Yeah.
for IMGs. If you literally say the percentage, South Australia was on the top before, but right
Mm.
now the Western Australia is considered as most welcoming state for IMG.
Yeah.
So do you think like even though they are welcoming, there are some flaws or something that you've experienced?
I think my biggest complaint would be is not stick to the standards or not sticking to the pathway would be my biggest complaint, because I feel like it's unfair
Hmm.
for IMGs to be, there are some IMGs that get a job just after AMC 1
Hmm.
and some have to do AMC 1 2 and still don't have a job, and that is because just the time that they pass the exams,
Yeah.
or the year that they pass the exam. Do you know, that's, and I feel that's unfair because the reason the candidates with AMC2 have not gotten a job is because the candidates with AMC1 have got the job.
That's
Do you
bit
know what I mean?
yeah.
But monetarily, the candidates that have put in the money for AMC2
Hmm.
have put the money, have done the right thing, have followed everything that the Australian Council has asked them to do. So why are we not supporting them in that is the question. So I always found that unfair
Yeah.
because countries like US, UK, and even India, for example, they have to take the FMG exam. They have to do the NEET PG. They have to do all three steps of the USMLE, or otherwise you don't have a job. And PLAB as well. Even UK has that.
Yes.
So why is Australia an exception to that?
And I feel that means it's not about cracking the only exam. I think it's to cracking the exam on a correct time, I think.
Correct, but also I feel, why do we have these exams? The reason we have these exams is to make it standardized.
Correct.
Correct? The reason UK, New Zealand, Ireland is exempt from it because they believe that the education is quite similar to Australian education, and that is why they have the competent pathway.
Hmm.
But for all the other countries, they believe that there is variations and they want to make it standardized. So they have AMC 1 and 2. So if that is the case, then if you're allowing candidates to work after AMC 1, where is the standardization?
That's a big counter arguments that we can
Yeah.
give, but sometimes that's what all exams have it introduced, like AMC to standardize. So while the time of your giving CVs to hospitals after AMC 1 or AMC 2, how what I mean is the time matters. See, because resume can be of course, but if whoever cracked the AMC 2, their resume can be much better, right?
Well, it depends. It basically depends. It does matter what country you finished a medical degree in,
Okay.
even though you're not in one of the countries in the competent pathway. It does matter what rotations you have done when you do have clinical experience. So having clinical experience is a big thing. So it does matter what kind of clinical experience. So like if you're isolated in dermatology, ophthalmology, they're super specialities. They're looking for resident medical officers that can cover the night shifts or the after hours or anything that's out of 8 to 5. So worst case scenario, basically, and that they know how to alert the seniors if something's going wrong, or they can identify a deteriorating patient. So, and apart from that, it also depends on communication. A candidate must be able to speak and present themselves appropriately,
Like
but
soft skills.
correct. But that is only at the interview stage that they will know who is who. So in the CV stage, having crit care experience, anesthetic experience, all does matter. And last but not least, it does also matter if you have someone in the hospital that can put a word in for you.
Referencing.
Correct. So it's an Australian reference, some general Australian reference, or even a reference inside the hospital.
Okay. Of course. And that's how it's not just medicine, or like whether you want to secure any good job in Australia.
Yeah.
This matters a lot. I mean, no matter how big your CV is,
Correct.
but someone is having a word for you, that means a lot for them.
Yeah.
And but in medical field, that's great to know. It's the same as well.
Well, the thing is, apart from that, it also depends on what the job market is like. So, for example, when I finished my exams, job market was pretty much saturated. We didn't have that many, vacancies. So at that time, even after, I know one of my colleagues, she waited for 2 years after AMC2.
Wow.
That's a very long time. And I was afraid of the same. But now you have candidates that get in after AMC1. So you can see it depends on
You see the COVID timing.
Correct. It
depends.
Exactly. And it depends on what the deficit is at the hospital. And, there's a period where the Irish doctors do go back home. So there is, we do need more doctors in the hospital at that time, junior doctors at the hospital at that time. So that all plays a part in it as well. But to decide when to take the exam based on the right time, you'll never finish your exams.
That's the common psychology behind the exams all the time.
Correct, because you're not going to get a date. And say you did get a date that didn't fall into the right time that someone has mentioned.
Yeah.
You're just going to upset yourself and you're not going to do the exam well. I don't think, and that's like an additional psyche, right? It's an additional thing that exams are already stressful. Don't make it more stressful than it is.
Exactly. And half of the stress is from here. So
correct.
But by supporting this, I have one research from Supply and Demand for Department of Health data, which saying Australia is already estimated to have a shortage around 2,466 full-time equivalent GPs. And that gap is projected to grow on 5,560 full-time equivalent GPs by 2033. And it goes even worse. By 2048, they estimated the shortfall is expected to be 8,908, to be precise, full-time equivalent GPs. And that's a huge number. Do you think whether because of this kind of projection, which RACGP, that's RACGP data actually, and I can give the links in the description for whoever wants to see the research. So do you think because of this ideation and research, we can see any future changes or something lenient on IMG's level?
Well, it would depend on if it's a rural deficit or a remote deficit. So I think that is something that needs to be clarified more on that research as to where is that deficit. And from what it looks like with the current state, it would be more rural than remote.
I think they have done more overall Australia one, but yeah. Correct.
So if that's what we're looking at, I know that there are initiatives to put in place at the moment to increase rural GPs to go rural. It works in some states because when a GP goes out into rural, they're well supported in the community. There's daycares available for families where the kids can go. There are good schools with good education. There is, they can travel around. There's a lot of facilities available. It's not available in all states, like for WA. If we go to Kalgoorlie, I'm quite stuck there. You know what I mean? Or
it's dead there.
Correct. And I have gone to Kalgoorlie, so I know how it is. Or even Port Hedland. Like you can earn well, but if you're having a family, the quality of life can be affected. So that's the other thing. It's not very much straightforward as the Australia-wide because the geography of Australia is not same everywhere.
Correct.
Or what is available in Australia is not equal everywhere. In terms of rural deficits, I know that we have initiated I remember like the IMG working group, we're trying to find ways where we can increase doctors to go there and then stay there rather than come back. And then you're again facing the same deficit for a doctor that's trained up. That is something that we are looking into. Apart from that, there are two more initiatives that the RACGP has put forth. But the issue with that, I know an RSCGP published this article that out of the doctors, I believe more than 200 doctors were brought in. And in that, most of the doctors ended up working in metro region rather than the rural. The whole incentive, the whole idea for the initiative was to go rural.
Okay.
So it's a bit disheartening because can doctors who have done the standard pathway, AMC 1 and 2, gone to RSCGP fellowship, IMG specifically, they're subjected to the 10-year moratorium and pushed to the rural areas. And I know a lot of doctors that cannot afford this
Correct.
financially or even save spouse's occupation when it's a single mom who needs extra additional help, who can't afford this, but have not gotten the exemption. And these are true stories and have not gotten the exemption because on paper it didn't look like they qualify for an exemption. And you can't, and it's been a journey to refute that. When these scenarios happen, you're undervaluing your own fellowship training, or you're undervaluing IMGs that have done the right path, have done the AMC, gotten standard, saying that our clinical skills are standardized and, prove that they're standardized and have done it the right way, according to the AMC Council, are not being rewarded for the same. In fact, they're being penalized for doing it the right way.
So we can say that whatever the new expedited pathway has launched and this two initiative by RSCGP, they are contradicting each other.
I was never very much a fan of the expedited pathway, nor the the specialist initiative by the RSCGP, because for the fact is that I understand the trainee, we're not meeting the needs. I do understand that. Then you should increase training. You need to increase training spots, and you need to reduce the amount of the restrictions. Like you must need a PR to be a GP, or even if that's not the case, say you need the PR for Medicare purposes, but you need to increase training spots, and you had additional incentives rather than saying, "Oh, you're an IMG, you must go rural," because we can just as much not work in a hospital, and not do that.
And that's what you are advocating for?
No, I'm not advocating for that. That's why I don't support those initiatives. Expedited pathway, again, I can assure you, we do say that UK training is similar to us, but I can assure you the way we treat, the way we do certain managements, the skills that some of us have are not the same as a Australian grad. They can't be the same. The patient cohort is different, right? And what things are available in the hospital, what things are available during training time in each country is different. So coming through the expedited pathway, these doctors who are meant to go rural are staying remote. So what happens to trainees that have done the right way, gone through the fellowship, and now qualify for a metro region, don't have jobs. So you're, again, undermining your own fellowship.
Exactly. And that can be the really concerning factor.
Correct. So I don't support this. And also expedited pathway means that you're not doing a due diligence of, checking if they have satisfied all the criterias. And expedited pathway, yes, I do understand that they have to have a fellowship in their country and experience. I personally have come into scenarios where I have had UK doctors come. I've been actually taken back by how much I've had to step in as a junior doctor.
Yeah.
Due to the knowledge gap. So I don't actually quite support it just because, I don't think it's fair.
No, totally understandable. But you also mentioned you are a federal representative
for WA State, for the
WA
IMG,
State?
yeah.
So what you advocate for?
So our main advocacy is there another alternative way to the 10-year moratorium for IMGs? Just IMGs to replace that. The deficit is not going to be enough. I think you need more Australian grads, IMGs. I think we all need to come together to help with the deficit. Okay. So we are working on ways where we can increase longevity, where doctors stay put in those rural areas longer, are supported when they do get there, and they're not on their own when they get there, and incentives for them to stay there.
Yes, like a mining site.
Yeah, exactly, and incentives to stay there. We are working on just the definition, and also we are working on doctors in metro region after the exams. How can we support them when they get into the job, and they've been studying for so long, they haven't put a cannula in a patient in a long time. So how can we support them with
Yeah.
those technical skills?
No, that's really important. So, my next question is bit of off topic of this one. So, in your general medicine practice, there are a lot of evidence based medicines. But do you think while the time of in the real scenarios, there are some intuition based approach that we should perform? So, do you think this is the gap while you were having any case on a?
We do have guidelines in terms of managing patients,
Hmm.
but it's not always hard and fast.
Hmm.
There is flexibility for clinical gestalt in practice. So even in emergency medicine where we have algorithms, it is just to keep us guidance during a high stress situation based on the clinical knowledge and the expertise of the person running the resource. They
Hmm.
can um, choose alternative treatment methods.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And also, I just want to ask in terms of, let's say, AI is emerging a lot. So as you know, all form of AI in medical therapy is also coming.
Correct.
We have a lot of news from Japan and US and different states.
Correct.
So what do you think, AI will be the future protector or will be in danger for the medical industry?
I think it's a good and a bad thing. I'll be honest. So good thing is, yes, we have a lot of documentation and all of that.
Mm.
Small things not small things. They add a lot of value medical legally that it could help with, right? Make doctors' life a lot easier. Help reduce the time spent on all of those. Just the digital recording and all of that. I think it would help. But in terms of the medicine itself, I think we have textbooks. And in textbooks, we read it. And the first thing our medical professor says is no human body is the same.
Hmm.
Right.
Correct.
And then as we go in our medical journey and our school, we find all these weird and wonderful variations of one disease. So AI, you're programming, correct? It takes a team and you're programming, but it can miss a lot of cases. It can miss a lot of acuity. It can miss a lot of things. I think that's where the downside of it is.
Yeah.
Because
Like there are my friends actually, they are crazy, went on crazy. Sometimes they have a literally severe or mild issues with them. And they says, go, hey, I've like they go literally on chat GPT saying
yeah,
this, give me the anatomy because they know 2, 3 words from the medical
correct,
industry and they actually get the whole prescription. And because they are not aware of the full symptoms of it,
correct,
they just end up getting a wrong research.
and also AI is great. But for example, say virtual medicine itself or
Hmm.
telehealth or virtual medicine, a lot of the time, unless you actually see the patient, put your hand on the patient, you're there's a huge margin for error. And I think that's where AI comes in because AI can't actually touch the patient.
Exactly.
So I think that's the downside to AI because human bodies or any sort of species, they're all unique. Not one person's alike. And that's hard to program.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Because you can't touch the sensory moments because
exactly.
AI just feeds up the back data and all. So
Correct.
that's very difficult to add that thing
Correct. And that can
for
also
now.
so in some cases it can help reduce presentations to ED, like when they put it on and AI gets it right. So then okay, they're calm, collected, they don't come to ED, they see the GP and that's great. But in other cases, it's how they worded to the AI
Yeah.
that they might get a catastrophic life-threatening diagnosis and then they come to ED and it's not.
What silly and funny thing about this, while some patients, back in the days, while you see any patient, they are very vague about what they're feeling.
Yes.
And now, in terms of the information, data, and AI, now they're actually telling doctors like doctors.
Yeah.
And that's very stressful for doctors, actually.
Correct. It is. And also, I mean, we are learning how to balance it out, I guess. It's okay in the hands of people who are specialized in that field.
Exactly.
Because when we read it, we can make the decision, I don't think that's right or that is right. But when it's not in the hands of people that are not specialized in that particular field, which is, you can't specialize in every field, so it's not
Exactly.
possible. I think it's a double-edged sword.
I totally agree with that. And now I want to talk about KP Balan Group, which
Okay.
you initiated, that we introduced on a intro as well. So tell us, how was the journey and how you got uh, KP Balan Group, and what do you offer to help international medical graduates?
It was an interesting journey. So, as you guys all know, medicine is competitive. People in medicine are competitive. That's the nature of it. So, I was brought up not in India.
Mhm.
I was brought up in Saudi Arabia, and I studied in a small class where by the time we got to ninth grade, it was only 9 people.
Mhm.
So, we were all friends. There was no competitiveness. Then I went to India, where I have a batch of 125. In just my batch, there's 2 batches, so 250 students, and everyone's competitive. So that's how it started.
Mm.
And then I noticed like I felt very uncomfortable. Then the AMCs came. I decided to go to Australia, and I asked this one person, uh, family friends, family friends, daughter-in-law, I think, um, and completely misguided me on the entire
Wow.
preparation, what I needed, everything. So I kind of understood the competitiveness doesn't end there, it just carries on. And it's funny because medicine is all about, the first oath that we take and everything is about,
Yes.
i- and in any field is to be collegiate and is to respect your colleagues and to respect everyone in the same field, or even everyone around you should be respectful. So I just felt very strange, especially in the field of medicine where it's all about empathy and
Yeah.
it's all about like, feeling, helping each other, and helping is the crux of medicine, right?
Hmm.
I felt it was very odd that no one was helping, everyone was lying. No one, and my husband, who's not in medicine, he was a dentist, did the legwork, did the research, did everything from scratch, and he guided me the right way. And that's when I realized, like, I mean, Australia at that time was not a field, like, not a place that everyone migrated to,
100%.
medicine wise. It was only post COVID that we saw an influx. I was like, there's a huge deficit in this matter. So I started help. So then I started answering questions for free for MCQs, and I noticed that my questions were circulating, and I kind of realized that they were circulating as the answer is A or answer is B, but not really realizing why I answered as A or B.
Yes.
So I thought I should probably let me explain myself. So then that's how the company started. I started teaching clinical. People said, okay, your classes are really helpful. Can you make it into? So they actually requested me to write it down as notes and publish it. So I published 3 books during my pregnancy period. And then a lot of them said, can you take courses? I was like, okay, I guess if if people are asking me to, I might as well. So then I started, and then a company from India had approached as well. So I ended up setting up MCQ. So currently we provide a 3-month MCQ course. My MCQ course is very different from all the other MCQ courses. I'll be honest. My students do need to work for it, as in I don't like if they're asking me a question, they need to ask me the question. They tell me what their answer is and why they think their answer is.
Okay.
If they're right, I'll say you're on the right path. If not, I'm gonna correct you in it.
Okay. That's maybe the correct way of learning, right?
I believe so. I don't believe in spoon feeding because then when you come on the floor, I'm in charge, and if you're my resident, I need
Yeah.
to be able to trust you, right?
100%.
So
Yeah.
that's and you. It's like, and I want you guys to be good doctors, and I want all my candidates that come out of my academy to be good doctors and also quality doctors. I don't want regurgitated doctors out there. So that's my motto. That's the company's motto. That we want quality. So that's how it started. And then now we also offer we also offer a clinical course to help them. I agree. I've not been as hands on yet, but that's because I'm in training as well. So
Yes.
once this passes, I'll be more hands on.
But how do you manage, like, practicing, like you are in the emergency department and you're registrar, plus, of course, home responsibilities, plus working for a group, as well as writing books and taking the seminars, and because it's a timeline based courses as well, so you have to meet certain timelines, and you're in the roster of actually practicing medicine. Don't you think it's a bit stressful?
It is definitely stressful. Take it one day at a time. And I have a very supportive husband, I'll be honest. And I have very supportive family. My mom-in-law and my mom, they all been helping. And my daughter also understands.
Wow.
She's very much tuned in. My daughter and my puppy, in fact. But apart from that, I have a very good cohort of doctors that work with me. So we're like a
Great.
small family. We all our doctors, we're very close to each other, and they know that I'm very approachable, and I like to keep it that way. So if there is an issue, I like them to come and approach me and tell me what's going on. So I think
Hmm.
that helps a lot because, like, for example, now when I'm studying for my exam, one of the girls literally said, "You don't worry about it. Take this time off. We will take care of the group while you're studying."
Wow.
So that, that makes me very proud. That makes me very,
So it's a collaborative success.
it's definitely a collaborative success. Like I would not have been able to do it alone. And
100%.
I was actually going to quit this all, and when my husband was the one like, "Nope, you can do it and I will help you with it."
That's the push that sometimes
Correct.
we need. Sometimes,
Yes.
you are in an edge and someone can say, you can do it.
Yeah. And no, my husband probably is the main reason it keeps going.
That's really great. And, because it's a 7 years of journey, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah. So in this 7 years, have you feel, because you are coaching for AMC 1 and 2, both exams, what I have observed this pattern, because AMC 2 is a clinical exam, which is
Yeah.
more on practical based approach.
Yeah.
Um, in general exam, let me clarify my questions more theoretically. In any other exams that you want to become an engineer or whatsoever, you give the exam, and your pressure level will be go down, and because you are cracking the exam.
Yeah.
In AMC 1 and 2, why it's going inversely, not like it should inversely proportional, but it is directly proportional. Means you are cracking the AMC 1 and AMC 2, but your stress goes equivalent high. Why do you think so? Because it's very like unique thinking that
Yeah.
after cracking the exam, people should feel relaxed.
We do, but I think it's because there's no guarantee that we'll get a job. And the exams are expensive enough.
Yes.
Cost of living is high. People that are onshore, the cost of living is high.
Hmm.
So that's where I think where I feel the candidates that are onshore should always be prioritized because candidates have done the AMC 1 and 2 has should be always prioritized. And I used to have a different outlook when I was doing the exam. I was like, okay, I want past one, can I just get a job? But it's only after I started being a registrar and overseeing multiple doctors come through and work with me, I realized, no, I think I need you to pass AMC 2 as well. And I know a lot of IMGs don't want to hear this. And I know a lot of IMGs would hate hearing this. But unfortunately, that is the truth. I was less lost. My first job in Australia was in coronary care unit, which is the ICU for cardiac,
Hmm.
which is a specialty. And I was just post internship. But I felt confident to do that job
Hmm.
because I studied for the AMC clinical, and a lot of cases did come.
But
So
it's
yeah,
not the always conventional way. That means there are a lot of different cases. Like, after AMC 1, people still can secure some RMO positions as well.
correct. So
Hmm.
that was not a case before,
Hmm.
but I've noticed that like I had more idea of what cases are coming to the hospital because that's what's actually in the AMC exams. That's why I'm an advocate for both exams. I know a lot of IMGs don't want to hear that, but the main reason stress level goes up is because the pass rate is quite low. It's a subjective at times. The feedback forms I don't think are the greatest, and after completing this, it's not a guarantee that you're gonna get a job.
So that's what I learned, because I was reading somewhere and I came through a great quote that learning from mistakes is essential, but
Yeah.
nobody tells us it should be yours.
It should be
So
your mistakes.
so the thing is, what do you feel in this journey where people make these most kind of mistakes? Are they getting demoralized sometimes? Where you feel that students makes more mistakes?
I think the main mistake or the main advice I would give all these students is do your own research.
Don't
Yeah.
rely on.
Yeah. Don't rely on other people's.
Mm.
One of the main things I tell my students is if I say A is the answer, you need to ask me why A is the answer. Don't just believe me because I said it. Like that should not be the case. Do your own research and do your legwork. The other not mistake or things that I would say people need to do. And I think one of my colleagues who is actually for New Zealand, he used to teach for New Zealand exams, and now he's an examiner. He used to also say, and I completely agree with him, is that um, you have set a goal. This is what you want to do. Focus on it. Don't compare yourself to anyone around you. Don't compare yourself to anything, like your colleagues back at home, or don't get pulled down by why you failed. Think about how you can do it better the next time.
Correct.
And I agree. And you need to be kind to yourself. You are going to burn out. This is not an easy exam. You're dealing with human life. So they want you to make sure that you are at your best. So, and remember, not a lot of people become doctors. So if you've decided to be a doctor, give yourself
The
that
best.
credit.
Yep.
And if you are burning out, take a pause. It's okay to take a break and then come back to it. It's like when you're flying.
Yeah.
Who do you rescue first, the child or the mother? The mother first and then the child. Same thing. You got to take care of yourself before you can practice
Then you're
medicine.
eligible to help others. No, totally agree. That's the concept. That's how. But sometimes, these exams are so competitive. They are studying like years and years, and mentally they just got demoralized sometimes.
Just surround yourself with people that are going to be lifting you up. Never, ever put yourself in a position where people are going to demoralize you.
Most of the time, they make a mistakes because they compare to others. Either seniors, fellow mates, or any other general situation. They are watching YouTube or something.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of misleading data around.
Correct.
And as you said, your case is different. No cases are same. Right?
Yeah.
So I think doing your own due diligence is more important, I think.
Yeah, it's very important. And just, and surround yourself with people that only support you. You don't need the drama. You are already living in a stressful life with
Exactly.
a lot of responsibilities. You don't need the drama.
100%. And this question is especially for the parents and half of the students.
Yeah.
Most asked questions: have you faced any kind of discrimination while working in Australia?
In Australia, yeah, I have. I
Okay.
have. But
That's
I've been
interesting. How? Like, what happened?
I've been faced discrimination between patients. Yeah, absolutely. But I've also been well supported.
It's only patients or the system?
I would say system mainly because of the whole 10-year moratorium, because I was a GP. I did enter the GP training, and I did feel quite discriminated because I did everything. I did the AMC 1, 2, I have a PR, I satisfied all the criteria. I can't go rural because I have a young daughter and I have a husband who has a position. Financially, we're stable because of that. I'm not going to throw my financial stability and my daughter's education
For sure.
for that, So, and that is just because I'm an IMG, not because of what I can offer.
Oh.
So, of course, that's a discrimination. But I was supported by my colleague in ED, where they offered me a job and they supported me through all of that. So I think ED has been very supportive. And even with the colleges, like when I was applying for the ASIM training, initially I got a rejection, but my colleagues, my consultant, Marianne, and the department, like Michelle, they were so supportive. They wrote the letter to the college to support me through all of it. So
Shout out to all guys.
yes, absolutely. And so that way, and they're not IMGs, right? So and Michelle's from UK though, but Marianne's not. So do you know what I mean? So it was a collaborative effort, and they didn't judge me from where I was. They assessed me for my capabilities and what I was willing to bring to the table. I've faced discrimination from patients,
Yes.
as they do.
But that doesn't hurt. I mean, every discrimination hurts, but the level where system does the discrimination,
Correct.
that hurts most, because you can deal with the patient.
Patients do, especially when they say
Oh yeah,
certain
they are
things.
sometimes more on aggression side of it.
Correct. But again, the system has supported me. I mean, and I think in the hospital, they have, I can call code black. And like in my previous hospital, I knew all of my security guards on their first name basis. And I was very friendly with them, and I knew them really well. And whenever I called the code black, they were there to support me when I needed it. So, like I said, I faced discrimination, but how much I'm going to let it affect me is also up to me. Let it affect me and affect my training, or move on and let the system and find the group that will support me. So that is what I want to create with AMA, uh, as an IMG representative for AMAWA as
Exactly.
well. I understand that a lot of people have been discriminated, and I apologize. I mean, like, I can't apologize for what people in the past have done and what has been. I understand it because I've been through the same. But if there is a way how I can help, I'm happy to help.
That's really great.
Mm.
But related to this, do you think ever, because of course, well, you meet a new people, it's very common. They ask you where you're from and where your education is from. Do you think having an Indian doctor title does affect you in some ways?
No, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it, and
That's how it owning gracefully. So that's
correct.
yeah.
I'm proud of it, and and I got into Manipal University because I worked my butt off and I put in the hard yards. I was not born genius either. So I always have to work. I'm one of those people that needs to put in, like, I need to start studying 6 months ahead, while people start 2 weeks ahead for the exams. I was one of those
That's a
people.
common Indian thing.
Yeah. So
So
and so I put in those efforts. So all the knowledge I know I have gaps and I own up to it and I have my weaknesses, but I'm proud of what I've been through, where I've studied, and my professors in my college were absolutely wonderful. I still keep in touch with my postgraduate
it's always
friends and
nostalgic to
professors. Yeah, absolutely. So no, being an Indian doctor, having that title, like that, my training was in India. No, I'm quite proud of it, and actually, it helped me create my own business, my KP Balan, which it's like my baby. So
and 100%. We all are proud of that
thank
because
you.
if I search any WA based learning experience, of course, your name is highlighted on that. And you asked me a reason why me. So I
Yeah.
think that's the most why me answer.
Oh, that's really lovely to know. Thank you so much.
And in the last, I have two more questions. And then
Sure.
I can, we can literally wrap up. My question is, sometimes we talk about misinformation.
Yeah.
So that affects people and student a lot because sometimes you don't know stuff which is good better than having a misinformation in your head.
Mm.
So how do you think, what are common myths that you have found while counseling, while in terms of counseling your students? Do you think they live in some kind of fake or misinformation? Do you
As
think?
in terms of the AIMS exams?
And in terms of general about perspective of coming to Australia, because IMGs are often contacting you from overseas as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, most of them are overseas.
Yeah.
Misinformation or myths would be, I know a lot of TikTok videos, YouTube videos, and a lot of other videos and blogs make it like it's so easy to pass this. It's such a blissful. It's not at all hard. You don't need to put in any hard work. It's easy to crack. It's easy to do. Absolutely not true.
No.
Any when you're
Only easy thing is a hair fall. That's it. There
correct,
is
yeah,
nothing easier
I
than
know, I swear, and oh my god, yes, but it's and any but think about it with a right, like if you're gonna one another country, they're not gonna make it easy for you to just relocate like that. So the fact that, oh, you can just mug this up, you do the
Oh,
exam, you will pass, is an absolute lie. So I don't agree with that. And also taking advice from people who are not qualified.
that's that literally bothers me too much
Yeah,
about this.
do a bit of background check on who's make. Anyone can make a YouTube video. Anyone can make a TikTok video. But you got to see if they have the credentials for it. A person who has never worked in Australia but or have biochemistry or any other degree, um, you know, uh, is suddenly commenting on the job prospects in Australia
Hmm.
in that particular field, or person who has not done AMC exams suddenly teaching AMC exams. I'm
Crazy.
sorry, like, and a person who's not a doctor but has a PhD in medicine, a PhD suddenly saying, "I'm a doctor, I can teach AMC and dental," is absolute crazy. So
And
but do
it's
you know?
horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. But do you know what? If they're doing it, it's your fault
Hmm.
because you are encouraging that behavior by paying them for those courses.
Yeah, I have the
So,
similar experience while I was tutoring for IELTS back in the days.
hmm,
And similar, I found because in my city there is no much exposure at
yeah,
that time when I was preparing
yeah.
for the exam. And one guy was actually famous for the IELTS classes, and we later on find out it was spoken English classes.
It's just
And
yeah.
he never sit in the IELTS exam at all. So he just normally talk to people about how accent, which accent you should pick, and IELTS is never about accent.
It's not. It's
It's
definitely
just
not because I mean I've done the IELTS exam. It's
exactly,
definitely not.
exactly. And people say, "Yo, it's like British accent or American accent." No,
It's
IELTS
not.
doesn't like even India has a very good accent. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on the quality more than the quantity or this impressive
Correct.
styles.
Correct.
So these kind
And
of peoples are just horrible in market.
that's the thing. So and a lot of I think I think that's one thing. And getting information from these kind of candidates obviously is not going to be true and it's not going to be accurate. Like I recently stumbled upon a video where this person said a degree like the master's in public health is not important and it's not going to help you and it's an irrelevant degree to have. It's not.
No.
It's not. It actually helps you with your fellowship, and a person who has done a training in Australia would have known that. So, but this person hasn't. So, if you are ready to take an opinion from a person, go for a course for a person who is not doing any of that.
It's no
I
point.
think you have it coming. Like I think like when I joined the course, like when I was studying for my AMC exam, my husband did the full research and he even checked who was teaching. He checked who my tutors were and what their qualifications were.
And that's very necessary actually.
Correct. Yeah. If I did not do this, if I did not do the AMC exams and I was teaching, that's horrible. That's wrong.
Yeah, 100%. That's what even I believe. And the last question, that is there something that we haven't discussed but you want to add?
We've talked a lot.
I know. This question just broadens my scope every time. So that was my favorite
um,
question.
I don't think there is, but I think as an advice, I guess I can give an advice to all the upcoming candidates and doctors that are wanting to move to Australia. If you want to move to Australia and if you want to work in Australia and that is your dream and passion, you will face hardship, okay? That is not just because you're moving to Australia. If you move to Germany, if you move to any other
Any
country,
other
US,
country.
they
Yeah.
all do. All TikTok videos, YouTube videos, they won't tell you the hardship that they went through. They won't tell you their failures. They will only tell you their success.
Yeah.
Okay? Even I don't want to post up all my failures.
That's
Who wants to talk about their
glorified,
failures? Exactly.
glorified world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So take it with a pinch of salt. So the advice I would give is do your own research. Make decisions with as a collection with your family members and everyone involved. Just one brain is not enough. You need multiple brains because this is a life-changing opportunity. This is a life-changing and very expensive
Yeah.
expensive road ahead. So you need to ask
Always,
your dad,
always.
is this something I want to do?
Yeah.
Or your husband or anyone. And last but not least, if this is your goal, stick to your goal, ignore the rest of the world, stick to your goal, stand up for what you believe in, and stick to your goals.
Perfect. That's what I say to everyone who contacted me. Be very, very rigid and stubborn about your dreams.
Yeah.
Because hardship's gonna come, but how do you face them? By your stubbornness.
Yeah. And I think one advice that I think a lot of them that I've noticed I'm giving more and more recently is that when you start your journey and then when you are giving the whole thing and you're coming here, remember this that you're going to be in a different phase of life.
Mm.
So when I started this journey, I was still living with my parents. They were making my food, they were doing my laundry, no other responsibility, just sit and study. You come here, you're doing the AMC exams, you do the AMC one, you get a job. Now, not only do you have to find a house, get your taxes sorted, do the cooking, the cleaning, keep your children alive. But apart from that, you also have to study for your AMC2 exam.
Exactly.
You still have a registration, otherwise you're going to lose your job. You still have, you also want to have fun in life. So consider what phase in life you're going to be and always plan for the future rather than right now in this situation, what do I want to do? It's not going to help.
100%. And thank you so much. And I feel very, very honored deeply that we are doing this first episode. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great platform and I love the initiative that you have going. I know I've pissed a lot of people off and
But that's the breaking bubble we need.
yeah. And thank you for having me on especially for your first episode. I really do feel honored that you had me on the podcast, and that's why I asked me why me. There's so many other people
That's
that
why I
are
keep
so
that
good.
answer for this podcast.
So no, absolutely, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to your success.